All right. It's been a it's been a little bit, not too long, but it's been a bit since I came up with a actual story, if you will. I guess the last one, I mean, you can count it as a real story. Um, how I got away with loitering at 7-Eleven. But excuse me. But this, you, I guess you could say this story is more of like a series of events, yeah, pretty much like a collection of events that happened at a specific setting, one specific setting. I'm obviously talking about basically so far my experience working at Pizza Hut for about a good year and a half now. I'd say a year and a half. Now, I will say, for one, working at Pizza Hut is like a mix of like very laid back, barely have to worry about anything, can just, relax here and there, not do much work, to, or mixed with your managers are on your back all the time. You got to worry about answering phones. You got to wash all the dishes depending on what days, which also means, depending on the day, if the day is busy or not. It varies. But me personally, I'd say it definitely varies when it comes to which manager is working, whichever shift you are working. Now me, I work the night shift usually. Not till closing, but I don't work in the morning. I work in the afternoon preferably. Now, when I first started working at Pizza Hut, I didn't apply myself. Actually, my mom helped me out getting applied in there, or for Pizza Hut. And really, she just kind of she kind of pushed me in a little bit too hard. I didn't like it, obviously. It was my first time working, but I then grew to working there, and then it just, kind of became a normal thing to me. She told me that, I didn't have to worry about too much. It was laid back, and back then it was. It was pretty laid back then. But things have changed. Things have definitely changed. So, the first, 4 or 5 months of working there, I absolutely dreaded answering the phones, right? I hated answering the phones. I would refuse. And there were a couple times where I was I was very tempted to quit because I heard, they wouldn't threaten me directly, but I would hear that if you can't do certain things at all, if you don't know how to do a little bit of everything, and if you don't do it consistently enough, that could result in either getting a write-up or possibly losing your job, getting fired. Now, if that was the case, in my mind I was like, man, dude, okay, because I was very antisocial back then. I still am. But back then I was always scared of answering the phones because I just knew that I was gonna be one of those people that was that would be slow on the phone, kinda. I would take too long, typing everything I need to get their orders correct. Gotta read the order itself, the prices. Gotta do my math correctly. Gotta make sure everything is, right, in order. all of that, I took that all into consideration, and it overwhelmed me at the time. Not gonna lie, it overwhelmed me quite a bit. Um, but eventually, I think like on the fourth or fifth month is when I finally started answering the phones, and only the first two times, like the first two times I ended up needing like assistance, as in like I had one of my managers or somebody else who consistently answered the phones to stand next to me while I'm on the phone with the person. And I'd always like remind the person subconsciously. I wouldn't even try, but I'd always remind the person like, "Hey, I'm new to this a little bit, so I might not be that fast." And they always reassured me that that it was fine, and take your time and whatnot. So it was good that I ran into those people that were really kind. But yeah, as time went on, I started getting pretty used to answering the phones, and now it's almost nothing to me. But yeah, that was my deal with the phones. Now I started off doing dough prep. What dough prep is when you go in the back of the store, and you pretty much literally, it's in the name, prep the dough, like frozen dough. You put them in certain pans, you put the lids on those said pans, and you put another pan on those lids, and it's the same process over and over with all types of different kinds of dough. And then there's like a freezer / refrigerator area in the back of the store that you put the dough in, either on a cart, or there are shelves within the refrigerator / freezer that you put the dough on. I started off doing that, and I still do that. And at first I was like, man, this is easy. I'd rather do this than, be up front. But as time went on, I started to dread doing dough prep. For mainly it being very repetitive, because it's not even that easy. It's just very repetitive, and it gets boring. And it gets so boring to the point where, like, I'm trying to think of certain stuff in my head, and I'm trying to trying to distract myself from the boredness, and it ends up making me being slower than I already was at the time with dough prep. And I still do that, but I don't do it as much because there's like a technique to it. There's all sorts of ways you can go about it to make the process faster, so you can go out and do other stuff. I won't go into too much detail on that because it's quite a mouthful of things to say, but I eventually got like the hang of a certain way to do dough, and I started to do it a bit more quicker. And yeah, that's when I started to learn how to do other stuff now that I had enough time, because back then I worked 3.5 hours because I was only 17 at the time. I was a minor, therefore I had limited hours that I could work, and if I stayed longer than those than the amount of hours I was supposed to work, that could potentially get get my managers in trouble. Now, as soon as I turned 18, that's when I started doing, other stuff, like cutting pizza, as in when they come out of the oven, I take it off the oven, I put it on the wooden paddle, pan thing, hold thing, whatever it's called, I don't know. I cut the pizza, put it in the box, and stuff like that. Now, that's when I started to realize I really despise doing dough prep. And going back to dough prep, because it got so repetitive, my mindset switched up. I was like, you know what? I would much rather cut dough or answer phones or, fry chicken wings, because we sell wings at Pizza Hut. I'm sure there's nothing new to you guys, but yeah. Or hell, even make the pizza. I would rather do anything else but prep the dough because of how boring and repetitive it is. Hell, I even, listen to music or just story times of people talking about BHD story times. I watch BHD story times. Or no, I don't watch it, but I listen to it while I'm doing dough prep to entertain myself. Or not to entertain myself, but to kind of get my mind in that zone, So I'm kind of like I feel like I'm in my element, So I don't act as slowly as I normally would if I'm doing dough prep. Now, fast forward to my first year being there, my first officially when I worked there for about a year. That's when, the main GMs were getting switched up. We had a GM named Val. That's not her full name, but I'm not allowed to say her full name. But yeah, we had a manager named Val. There is a specific manager or shift leader that works there and has been working there ever since, I applied. And, nobody likes him. And there's actually a few times you know what? We're gonna call this guy Derek. Anybody who works there and watches my videos, you know who I'm talking about. Derek is, oh my god, I'm sure we all know that when we work, when we start working somewhere, there is bound to be that one person that you just don't like. Derek was one of those people for me. I absolutely hated him. Or no, I didn't start hating him until like 4 months ago. Before then, he was just annoying. But now, I really do not like him. Nobody likes him. Not even, a couple other managers don't even, like him or respect him, even. And it's funny, too, because he doesn't realize, or he didn't realize, but he brought me to the brink of tears a couple times, mainly because, well, I tend, as a coping mechanism, I tend to replace my anger with sadness, so I don't blow up on people. So, yeah, only a couple times, and that was actually pretty recently. But yeah, he's weird too. He picks favorites. Either one guy out of 5 that work there, or all the ladies. He's a ladies guy. He's a ladies man, and and mind you, he's in his 50s or 60s, and every I remember, I will never forget this one time where me and a friend of mine named Austin, he's a delivery driver. One time there was a customer that came up front, to the front counter. There's this fine girl that she was beautiful, and she was showing a little bit of cleavage. And I didn't notice this at first until, because I was folding boxes near the cut table, and Eric comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Ooh," and then I'm like, "What?" And then I turn around and I see the girl and I'm like, "Oh my god." Of course. And I started dying inside. Oh, it was so funny. I couldn't laugh out loud. I couldn't. But I was fighting for my life. to hold my laughter in. Even Austin noticed it. Like, we all know, like, how he is with, like, you know, beautiful females and all that. Man. How much you want to bet the guy gets pussy whipped easily? But he'll do anything a woman tells him to do. But yeah, man, yeah, he's a very interesting individual. I don't like him. He's pretty stupid sometimes as well. What's that word? He accuses me and some other people of doing stuff that we didn't even do in the first place. And then if we talk to him, or if we say that we didn't do that, we're talking back, or we're arguing. What sense does that make? But yeah. And then there's this other coworker of mine who's hilarious. His name is, I guess we'll call him VC. Or, no. I can't think of a name to come up with this guy. But he's like a Russian dude. He's Siberian. He's from Siberia. Now this guy, he's a delivery driver, right? I do not exaggerate when I say he is literally a child in an older man's body. He is like so energetic, like unnecessarily energetic. And it doesn't help that he has like a strong Russian sounding accent. Like there's one time where I saw like him and another coworker of mine named we're gonna call him G. G was cutting pizza, and you know the Siberian guy was next to him, and he was like talking, like that's his thing. He never stops talking, even when he's supposed to like get ready to, you know, go do a delivery. He stops to talk to someone, and then he gets stuck in that conversation that he is carrying on. He, you know, goes up to him, starts talking, and then, you know, he's very energetic. He even starts to jump up and down a little bit, and G is like, dude, what are you doing, man? Go do your delivery. And he like shouts at him, and then like, you know, and the Siberian guy, he doesn't like get scared or anything, but he does back off, and I could not stop laughing. That was that was hilarious. But yeah. But so far, my experience working at Pizza Hut has been pretty decent. Not the best, but I'd say decent. Would I say it's a preferable fast food place to work at? I wouldn't know. I never worked anywhere else. But Pizza Hut is okay. It's cool. I'm okay with it. I like it. But yeah. There's a lot more to talk about, but honestly, I don't have enough energy to talk anymore. And anything else is unnecessary. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video.